Welcome back to I'm not Amish, but let's make some homemade mozzarella the easy way this time. I showed you how to make this before with a gallon of milk, and I did the series of stretch and folds by putting this mozzarella into the oven, or you can also do it in a microwave, but instead I did about a half a gallon, maybe a little bit more than a half a gallon of milk, and you want to use whole milk if possible, and you heat it on the stove to an internal temperature of 115 degrees, and so the key to this is you have to constantly stir, so I brought in my helper, but I accidentally went up to about 120 degrees. So 115 is really the sweet spot is what I found. And after you get your internal temperature that you want, then you add in your white vinegar. Again, here's where I kind of screwed up, where I should have used maybe like 2 to 3 tablespoons. Instead I used about a cup on a little over a half a gallon of milk, which is a little bit too much because it creates too much acidity and too much moisture in your cheese. But then you separate the curds in the whey, and once you have all of your curds out, then I found this super simple way of doing a stretch and fold. You put it on the stove, you add in your salt, and then you just start to continuously on low to heat that curd up until you get a soft, creamy cheese consistency. And this is essentially your stretch and fold. It's a little bit exhausting because you're constantly moving it around, but once you get your cheesy consistency, which in hindsight, had I had a lower temperature and not so much vinegar, it wouldn't have been so creamy and it would have firmed up a little bit more like a mozzarella, but still it did work and it did still have that texture for the most part. Then you're going to put it into a ball and then stick it into your ice bath. Also, when you separate your curds and whey, you need to let it sit for like 15 minutes before you actually start separating the curds and whey. After it's in your ice bath, you're going to squeeze out extra water. You're going to store it in an airtight container. And then when you take it out, you are going to get a really creamy, delicious cheese. This was more like a brie, but it does make mozzarella. It's so easy. So go and make this recipe. Homemade, baby.